say they can be up to 10 feet tall and weigh more than 1,000 pounds, but could a giant creature like that really be lurking in our woods? Bigfoot sightings have been reported across the nation, but one small town in Colorado seems to have more activity than most.
Bailey's becoming known as a Bigfoot hotspot.
Nestled against the Pike National Forest, Bailey is home to about 9,000 residents, tons of wildlife, and potentially dozens of Sasquatches.
He met a local lady who had just had a Bigfoot sighting, and he was so excited because he said, "Wow, that means they're here."
Jim and Daphne Myers co-own the Sasquatch outpost in town, home of all things squatchy, including evidence of their existence.
He put this big map up on the wall, and people just started coming in, and they wanted to tell us their sightings and their stories. And I have to admit, I started off as I was just humoring him. And as these people started coming in and telling their stories, I had to say, wow, you really did see this two-legged hairy creature, and you're not making this up. So I became a believer myself.
This was an imprint of an elk's body we found in the snow. It had been running and it was defecating as it ran, which I don't see very often when I'm hunting. The strange thing was there were no elk prints leaving this site. There were no predator prints, there was no blood, and there was no body, no elk body. And the elk was gone. So we just never know what we're gonna find when we go out.
The back of the shop has now been transformed into a Bigfoot museum and a place to let your imagination run wild.
This is a frame from the Patterson-Gimlin Bigfoot footage. It was filmed in 1967 in Northern California. Still to date is the quintessential Bigfoot sighting. There was no technology in 1967 to create a suit that had breasts that bounced. Even the Academy Award-winning costume designer for the original Planet of the Apes said he could not have made a suit like this. They know she was 7 feet 6 inches tall, and by the impression of her feet in the sand and just the body mass, they estimated she weighed in the realm of 900 pounds.
But if the stories and evidence in the Bigfoot Museum aren't enough to convince you, you can sign up for one of their squatching adventures and head out into the woods to search for your own evidence, which is exactly what photojournalist Ray Harless and I did next. Ray, we're going squatching.
Abbie and Ray from Fox 21 News in Colorado Springs, and Daphne is with us, and Kevin Lynn. And we're gonna see what activity we can get tonight.
That's a dog.
That's a dog. They hoop, they scream, they talk, they chatter, like you hear people talking in the woods, but you can't make out the words. They knock on trees and clack rocks together. And this stick is my tree knocker. So when we get back farther, we'll knock some and see if anybody's out there wants to knock back. Woo! Nobody wants to play yet.
That scared me.
Why don't one of you ladies try a call? See what happens. Why don't you try, Abbie? Whoop. We've hooped, we've whatever Kevin does, screech howls.
I think Ray meowed once.
Meowed, we've whistled, we've not had any replies so far.
While we didn't have any encounters on our Squatch Watch, others say they have, and not too far from where we were. In late July of this year, Kevin Lynn and a friend set up camp along the Colorado Trail in the Lost Creek Wilderness area.
Starting to get dark, and so we decided we needed to try to find a flat area to set up camp and also get a fire going. Yeah! So we did some calls and some tree knocks that night, and after about I'd say 11 p.m. or so, we kind of settled in and decided to just go ahead and call it a night. Probably 2, 3 o'clock in the morning again, we heard loud tree knocks and whooping or calls from some sort of creature or more than one, because we were hearing things from behind our tent as well as out in front of our tent.
This is the actual audio Kevin says he recorded that night.
And the only thing we could figure is they were maybe calling between each other and they knew we were there. We were actually got to a point where we just couldn't go to sleep again because it was repeated for a few hours.
So is Bigfoot out there?
Give me an hour and an open mind and I'll convince you.
Do you believe?
It only takes one sighting and you're an instant believer.